We have a special guest. Would you like to reintroduce yourself in case people just tuned in and skipped the news to avoid our bullshit? So, April Love, introduce yourself.
I'm one of those slashers, so I'm like model slash presenter slash actor slash entrepreneur slash ex-lawyer slash co-founder.
God damn, we got a slasher right here. We got musician slash biceps slash abs slash triceps slash traps.
Show me those. Go on, show me those biceps, Don. Bring him over. Ooh.
Oh, see, he flex. He knows. He knows.
Yeah.
I can feel him from here. I can feel
You can feel the masculinity just coming through the microphones.
Oozing out of him.
it. No, man, not through the microphone. It just travels across the world. I'm like, oh, shit, I feel Don right now.
Is that an earthquake or is that
Abs
Don walking in the room? Shit.
Anyway, more about April.
I don't have abs.
So let's go through the what came first in terms of your slash or your multi-talented facet.
Modeling was kind of the first thing. I started when I was 14 years old through like a Westfield / Supre model search. And then from there, a few other modelling gigs kind of popped up, and then from there, I transitioned into pageants, and then continued modelling for like a substantial number of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw that you teach modeling as well.
Yeah, so that was actually the natural progression for me. So after I did modelling and acting and presenting, I still kind of wanted to stay within the industry, and so kind of like how actors eventually transition to become directors and producers, I transitioned to start coaching models. Yeah.
That's awesome. And what made you want to branch out to other things? Were you just sick of being one thing and you just wanted to get more creative and try something new? Or was it more of a self-development thing? What was it?
Yeah, it was a kind of bit of both. It's also like in the industry, I wanted to be the triple threat, so which is like modeling, acting, presenting, and
Unstoppable.
self-development. Like the more skills you acquire, I guess like you're able to be really flexible and adaptable to different things. So not just modeling, but commercials. So you do acting and TV, and then not just like acting, but then being able to host a show, which I've done. All the really valuable skills. Actually, Don and I used to host live show.
Oh, there you go.
Way back
Which show was that?
So
The one that you and Don
good.
did? Yeah, that's it. I remember. That's
Back
when
in the days when
you
Mats didn't like Don.
and I didn't like Don. I didn't like him.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was such a long time.
How long was that?
Mate, probably 2005, 2006 time.
Yeah, bro.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Long ass
Ages
time.
ago. But was that your first time hosting something? First time presenting something?
Yeah, I think that was probably the first time hosting live stuff. So I have you to thank for my transition into hosting.
Awesome.
Cool.
I feel good. Nice.
I'm just watching this
nice.
This moment.
This
It's a nice
moment happen.
It's a nice moment. That's very nice. That's cool.
We used to do our little I'm Don Alex and I'm April Love and you're at So Good.
Yeah,
What did you say?
we had a whole jingle. We had
Say it again. Can you wait. I'll count you guys in,
Oh god.
and then you just have to say the exact same thing that you said.
I don't
back
even
then.
remember. Was that what we did?
Yeah, I think
It was just like
All right, ready?
Don, you gotta
No preparation, just go in.
Pressure's on.
Don,
3,
bring it back. Bring your
2,
soul good powers out.
1.
Hey guys, I'm Don Valix,
And I'm April Love.
and you're listening to the Cheat Coders podcast.
Oh, this guy stuck in 2018. What's going on? We're taking it back.
But yeah, it was something like that. It was so long ago that I barely remember.
Sorry, April. What did he say? He said, "I make love."
I make love.
Oh wait. Okay, you mixed. Your last name's Love.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like,
I was like,
"Hi, I'm Don. I make love,"
I make
but you
love.
said April Love.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And I'm April Love.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I do, but anyway.
2005.
Moving
All right,
on.
we're going that
Moving
personal.
on,
All right, but back to your presenting. So you went from presenting at Soul Good, and then you went to present in because I did your show reel about
Yeah.
I don't know 10 years ago,
Long time
and
ago.
I've noticed that you were doing a lot of television stuff. So
Yeah.
did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I transitioned from live hosting to TV, which I really enjoy. Live TV, not so much. I remember the first time I ever did like a live TV hosting gig, it was at the Arias, and it was terrible. So bad. At the time, the Potbellies were, I think, winning an award. And this is the first lesson I learnt. Do your research. I thought, yeah, I can rock up. My looks will get me through. I interviewed the Potbellies, had no idea what they did, and they were up for an aria, and it was so awkward. They were so pissed.
Wow.
They were so angry. And
That's
this
why
was on live TV. So
live.
Yeah, it was bad.
That's why on the cheat coders, I always get
Is it on
guests that we know already, so we don't have to do that research.
Yeah.
Like I've worked with you before.
Yeah.
But we do try to do some research.
Yeah, a
We
little
try to-
bit.
little bit. Yeah, so that was really bad. So that was something I learned, and then obviously from there I started like doing my research, taking things more seriously, and you just learn and you grow, and eventually when I got to hosting the show that I was doing on Fox with my co-host Trent Peppercorn, who I love to pieces, we were killing it. Yeah.
Nice.
That's so good.
Nice. I was gonna ask you if that you've ever had a moment like, what's his name? Trevor, the guy that
You're looking at me like I know.
he was hosting Miss Universe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
then he read
Steve Harvey.
whatever his name is.
Steve Trevor.
Steve Trevor.
I was like,
Wait,
who are you talking
I think that's a
about?
comic
I'm
book
like,
character.
I'm trying to
Anyway,
research this guy.
yeah, he
Wonder
had
Woman.
he had he
Yeah,
said the
that
wrong
moment
the
when he
wrong
called the
winner.
wrong-
model.
That was like one of those moments where it's like you had one job to do.
I know.
At
But
least
you know
didn't
what?
piss off like
And
Beyonce.
you know what I reckon though. Sometimes these mistakes like that brought the show so much more attention.
Ratings.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think like mistakes make everything, and I think like what inspires me a lot, like how you've done all these things. It all adds up. Like nothing is ever a waste or nothing is ever
Yeah.
a mistake. Like it implements to what makes you today type thing. As corny as that sounds, kind of thing.
No,
You know what I
I
mean?
totally agree. And
Like that's why we're like podcasters now. Like we've had some we've had some slashes too. Like we've done
we're-
things, Raph.
Yeah, we've had our mistakes and ups and downs, so we're learning from
Totally.
them. So as long as we learn from those mistakes,
Exactly.
we should be all awesome. So I wanted to
long
talk
as we're
about
learning.
that you are an ex-lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
and you did the whole thing.
Yeah.
I know that going to uni for being a lawyer is like I don't know,
It's like 5
That's
to
a big
7
thing.
years.
5 to
Damn.
7 years. So
Yeah.
you
Damn,
went
son.
all the way there, and at the end, and did you end up getting a lawyer job?
Yeah, worked as a lawyer for 5 years.
And then out of nowhere, you decided to
Maybe
just
a bit
be a PR. You moved to PR.
Yeah, I did, but that's a funny story. So, I did law school, did all that, worked as a lawyer for 5 years or a bit more. I probably blocked a lot of it out of my and then, so what happened was I started my startup, Sequatics, and the PR company that I work for now saw us at like a market stall or something, and they approached me and said, "Hey, we want to do PR for your startup." And so I met with them. I was still working as a still working as a lawyer, and I was kind of like, "Hey, in your proposal, you say that you want to do X, Y, and Z for me. I pretty much do this for myself. So I've got a counter offer for you. What about if you hire me to do PR?"
Nice.
At the time, I thought I could do all of the stuff in that proposal. When I started the job, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Having said that,
Fake it till
3
you make
months
it.
in,
That's it.
it was a steep learning curve. Having said that, now I've taken to it. They just promoted me. Yay for me.
Nice.
And I actually really like it. I really enjoy it.
So
Like that.
was there something that in you that wanted to do PR all this time, or
No, I just wanted to get out of law.
it's like I didn't spend that much time on it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just
I
about.
want to ask you. I want to ask you about Sequatics
Yes.
and PR. But the first thing I want to try and get out of the way was, did you ever get a chance to say I object in court?
No, never.
What's
And
the other one they
that's my
say?
biggest regret.
Have you ever said I rest my case? Do they say that?
Like guys, where are you
I think
guys
that's
getting
more
like this
that's more
from?
American. Like you watch
It's,
too much
it's usually
Suits,
like
bro.
I know it's
This is
obviously
like from Suits or something?
yes.
And was your ringtone Law and Order theme song?
No. But I did love Suits. Suits is so fantastic, but it's so far from what Law is actually like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Oh, that's a
initially it was
shame.
supposed to be a Wall Street show,
Yeah.
and then they changed it because it would be more interesting and have more conflict if it was
Yeah.
Law.
Like Suits is amazing. Like Harvey Specter, I would marry him in a heartbeat. Like he's just such a fantastic character. He's kind of sexy and he's arrogant and he's good at his job. It's just
Guys want to be him.
Yeah, we could
Do
all
you guys
relate.
watch? Did you guys watch this show called Do you guys watch a show called Better Call Saul?
no, but
No.
isn't that a spin-off from
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I just finished it yesterday, and it's just awesome. Like, I just
Because
felt
Saul's a
like
lawyer.
adding that because it's about just being a
okay.
dodgy lawyer, and I
Yeah,
love dodgy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah. The
It's so
the-
dodge. I love the dodginess. It's so good. I feel like that's the epitome. If I ever got a law degree, that would be me.
that would be you.
Well, you did law, so that means you got all these legislations memorized in your head, right?
Not anymore. But
Not anymore?
Yeah,
Okay.
That
Because-
time.
It's like,
That would
say
be
more, say
real
more.
useful in terms of starting a business or
Yeah.
yeah.
moving
Look-
into these things.
Has that helped you in the PR
Yes,
stuff?
absolutely. Like law, I'm never gonna bag out my like being a lawyer and having a law degree. I mean, it taught me so much. Taught me so much discipline. It taught me how to research. How to be analytical, attention to detail, like. And all of these skills are transferable, and that's most likely why the current firm that I work at, they hired me because, having a
course,
law
yeah.
degree, like it's a pretty solid effort. A lot of people, like the rate of people that drop out of law is so high. Usually in their third year, and over a 5-year degree, you really earn some clout.
It's kind of like podcasting in a way.
Yeah.
Like, it's like people don't make it till the 11th episode, and if
We
they
made
keep
it to
going,
60.
they'll get their reputation up
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
like the cheat coders,
So right now you're running this company called Sequatics,
Yeah.
as well as working at this PR firm.
Yes, yes.
What's Sequatics all about?
So Sequatics is a waterproof case for your phone and your valuables. So it's not like an actual phone case. It's more like a pouch. And you can put your phone in there and still use your phone as usual. You can take it underwater, take photos and videos underwater. You can Instagram underwater. I was on the back of a jet ski once and Facebook lived through Sequatics.
Nice.
So it's basically allowing people to document experiences they wouldn't otherwise be able to experience. And yes, you can use a GoPro and things like that, but before the GoPro had like a viewer, you still had to take the SD card out and upload it somewhere.
Yeah.
So this kind of eliminates all of that. People use their phones for everything these days, so why not take it to
Yeah.
adapt
new
to the
heights?
phone rather than anything else.
Yeah.
So how did Sequatics start? Like the idea. I like hearing about the ideas
Yeah.
starting. It's like if you drop the phone in the toilet and be like, I wish I had a pouch that actually saved my phone
Yeah.
or something like that. So
Okay, so I was holidaying in the Philippines. We were in Boracay, and we were staying at Station 1. So for those of you that know how it works, it's Station 1, 2, and 3, and is there a Station 4?
I think so.
I've just never been there.
It doesn't matter.
And so Station 1 is kind of like where the higher end resorts are. And so there are people on the beach that are always trying to get you to do activities. And this one guy just kept hassling me like every single day, like come on my boat, come on my boat, come on my boat. And it was kind of creepy because it was just like, dude, like relax. I don't want to come on your boat. And then I did.
oh, you went in his boat.
Well, eventually, 'cause the guy was so damn persistent. And so we went on this boat, and it was me and my partner at the time. And we were, he said, oh, I'm going to take you to this really beautiful place to go snorkeling. It was so far out from the mainland, super, super far.
Yeah.
We weren't even on like a nice boat. It was like a wooden boat that could probably collapse
One
at
of the
any time.
catamarans? Yeah.
Yeah, so bad. And so we were like freaking out because I am Filipino, but they weren't speaking Tagalog, so I didn't know what they were speaking a different dialect. And they took us out to the middle of nowhere. It was beautiful, yes. We had our phones, we had our hotel keys, a bit of cash, valuables. But we couldn't enjoy it because The guy he had like 3, we were outnumbered. I think there was like 3 or 5 people. Like it was just us, but like his crew, there was 5 of them. So we were kind of freaking out. He was like, you guys go in, you know, and I was like, yeah, we probably go in, you leave us in the middle of nowhere and you take off with our stuff and we like end up dying. So yeah, so what we did was one would stay on the boat and while the other one went snorkeling, and then we would swap. And at that point I realized there's got to be a better way. Like if worst case scenario happens, I've got my phone, I've got my hotel card, my cash, I've got, you know, credit cards, enough to survive. And I had reception, so like, you know, I was Snapchatting and stuff from the boat. Our GoPro had died, and I was like, well, I want to be able to take photos of like the sea and stuff that I'm seeing underneath here. Yeah. But I had nothing. So that's how it came about.
Nice.
Wow. You know, you are such a creative that even when you're shit scared,
still thinking.
Ideas came about. It's like, these people might run away with our phones. Why not turn it into a business?
Yeah. but that's where like entrepreneurism, like, you know, that stuff comes out. It comes from a need of something, right? There's a problem and you're solving a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I was expecting a very light story, but that really got
well,
really...
the lawyer in me. Lawyers are like worst case scenarios, so maybe it probably would have been fine, but like the lawyer is just kind of like, look, worst case scenario, this guy leaves you, you need to have like a backup plan, you need to be able to get out of here.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. Yeah. So that's 7 years of
lawyer
school really worked out.
Yeah,
that seems good.
Yeah.
So how's like, where can we find Seaquatics?
Yeah. So we have our website, which is www.seaquatics.com.
Check it out. I want it right now.
Oh, you want it? Yeah. And I created that website, so like from scratch. So that was me.
Oh, nice.
But we're also stocked in General Pants and in the store by Fairfax, which is like Fairfax Media's curated store, as well as this other store called Hard to Find, which just bought out part of Red Balloon, which is the gifting section. So it's we're doing pretty well. We were going to be stocked in Rebel, but I pulled the plug on that deal just because it wasn't a good experience. So they were, you know, without being like too negative, they were kind of being like corporate bullies, and they knew that they were a big company, we were a startup, so they knew that they had all the power, and at the end of the day I walked away from that deal.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of that because of being a startup? Is it more of a like a steep hill to climb than if you were to just go to an established company?
Yeah, definitely. It can be. But, you know, like General Pants is like such a huge company, and, you know, I basically reached out to their CEO, had no idea if he was going to be keen, and I just went straight to the CEO, sent him an email, didn't even know if he was going to read it, and within like a couple hours he'd forwarded it to like their buying team and said, sort this out.
Nice.
Awesome. So you just got to persevere no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter how many times you just get knocked down. So
totally.
Did you want to tell any other stories in regards to what you struggled through, or what obstacles you had to face, not only in your Seaquatics venture, but also in the modeling industry, entertainment industry? Yeah,
well, definitely being Filipino, or just as the modeling or acting world would categorize you as Asian, I think that's been real difficult. So trying to be an actor in the Australian industry has been so difficult. You know, the only roles for Asian actors at the time were like being a maid or being a ninja, and so
you were both.
Or actually, there's 3, or being like a call girl.
Okay, there you go.
So I've been 2 out of those 3.
All right, sweet. The Trinity will. I don't know. I don't want to even continue that.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. So like, you know, being on Home and Away back when I was doing extra work for them. It was an all-white cast. I think only now, like, they're starting to diversify. And yeah, so just being an Asian actor in Australia has been proven pretty difficult. And you get typecast into certain kind of roles. So I remember doing something for the ABC and Channel 7 where I got hired to be a high-class cool girl. And I'm like, really? That's the kind of Asian roles that are available? At the end, I took it because I was like, better me than some other Asian.
It is a dog-eat-dog world out there.
But it's kind of frustrating. So like, I have a friend who is killing it in Hollywood right now, and he's in Crazy Rich Asians. And yeah, he went through the same problem, and that's the reason why he moved to LA, because they're a bit more open to diversity. Not a lot more, but a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever since that movie came out, that was the Black Panther of the Asians, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, when you saw that movie, did you just when you saw that movie, did you just want to get back into acting and
totally. Well,
see what
actually,
happens?
funny story. The way that they were casting that was like through an open casting call, YouTube, I think, audition. And I was like, oh, like, I want to apply, want to cast. And then I, like, something that, you know, women often do is, like, doubt themselves, right? And I was like, oh, you know, there's so many Asians in this world, I'm not going to get chosen. And my friend Chris was like, if you had auditioned, because he'd already got the role, he was like, I would have got you on. I was like, regret.
It's one of those things like,
Yeah.
if you were really nice to me, I would have got you this gift. Really. But in terms of being typecast as Asian, would you get offended or call out racism if they wanted you to play a different Asian? Like if they say, oh, we got this comedic role,
Yeah.
and you have to play this Chinese waiter in a Chinese restaurant.
I don't think so. I can do Chinese pretty well, yo.
Like, so, like, I was just wondering if that was a thing. Like,
No,
if you were Asian, you were, if you would.
If you look the part, you look the part. Right?
Yeah, right. I'm not really discriminating against any other Asian race. Like if I get cast, actually I got cast in something for like a Japanese telenovela once, and yeah, like whatever, I'll be Japanese.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
Like,
Hey, what do you think
Ohio.
about like back in the day, historical days, when black people would be casted by white people?
Yeah, no,
That's
that's
racist,
that's terrible. Like that's so bad. Like that movie Aloha that got so much slack because they cast I forget who it was, but like they cast a white girl to play like a Asian role. And
Was that Emma Stone?
Yes,
that's
Emma
Emma
Stone.
Stone.
How like?
Yeah.
how long
Well,
ago
she wasn't
that,
Asian,
though?
but it was an originally Asian role, right?
Yeah, and it was just so stupid because it was like we're in a time now where there are well-known Asian actors,
And they still do
and
it too.
why didn't they go for that? Instead, they cast Emma
That's
Stone.
true.
I have a bit of trivia. Do you know the movie Starship Troopers?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
based on the main character was supposed to be a Filipino.
I thought you were gonna say like the metaphor was the aliens were the Asians. Anyway.
No.
But that was good too.
No. The main character, he's like, I think it was from a book or something. The original
supposed to be
character
Filipino.
was supposed to be
No
Filipino.
way.
But can you imagine the lead as Filipino? It's like, okay, pare,
Then
let's
Pinoy
go.
pride.
Okay, pare. Let's get the troopers out.
Troopers, okay.
The troopers are super.
Because I think it was supposed to be a parody of like how patriotic and loyal like the Americans like are, and Filipinos are
yeah.
also very
Yeah.
patriotic.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like very similar to Filipinos.
I didn't know that. That's amazing. Is that from
Yeah,
the
I
book,
didn't.
though?
It's Americans.
Like if I read the book, there's gonna be like Filipino dude. Is
Yeah.
that what you said? That's cool.
Yeah.
His name is Juan.
Swan. Oh shit.
Swan.
It's Juan.
It's Juan de la
His name is
Cruz.
Aprille.
It's one.
No, I don't remember his name. I don't remember the guy's name, but
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron. But yeah, I think Hollywood now is. I guess you can see it from Crazy Rich.
Would you say Crazy Rich Asians was the turning point that's making it more?
Yes.
Because there's TV shows, Constance Wu. She's in what's that
Fresh
TV
Off the
show?
Boat.
Fresh Off the Boat. I love that show. It's so
I
fun.
think-
Yeah.
Yeah, actors, more like ethnic actors, are trying to chip away at this kind of problem. I know one of my favorite shows is Master of None by Aziz Ansari, and he's the main character. He's the love interest. He and all of
That's
his
dope.
cast is like really diverse,
Yeah.
and he tries to.
Would you
break
say
that.
we're the new black?
Yeah.
Well, if Black Panther's still out there,
No.
apparently there's
at the
gonna be a
time,
Marvel
it's the time
movie
of
that's
the
gonna be
Asians. We're the
Asian
new
lead.
black.
Yeah, I think actually that one of the people from Crazy Rich Asians is in that Marvel movie.
Which
Yeah.
movie?
I think it might
I don't
be
know. I read it that they're gonna
Damn
in the
son.
works.
Yeah.
They're trying to make a Black Panther of Marvel, but
Yeah.
Asian. So
Yeah.
I forgot the Asian comic book
Wait.
character's name.
Oh.
You guys
So-
know Ronnie Cheng, yeah?
Yeah, like
Like he's
personally.
from Melbourne. He's from Melbourne originally, eh?
Wait, do you mean Chris Pang?
No,
Ronnie Chang. No, he's the dude. You know, in
comedian
Crazy
who's
Rich
in-
Asians, it's the guy. He's really obnoxious, and his wife like ignores
Oh
him. Kind of thing.
yeah.
He's I watched him at a comedy show so long ago.
Yeah.
Because my friend was a big fan, but he was just doing the Melbourne shows, I think. But I don't know if he's from Melbourne or Sydney. But
'Cause
like,
my
and then I
mate
was so
is
surprised
from
watching the
Melbourne.
movie, and I was like,
Right.
what the hell? They like really cast a lot of Asians, like really
Yeah.
known ones, and even
Yeah.
non-known ones. Because I wouldn't say he's on the same level as what's his name, the Hangover guy from
Yeah,
the Asian
yeah.
Hangover guy. But like, I was just so surprised to see him. I was like, man, this guy's from Melbourne. He's making it. So I don't doubt you when you're saying like if your mate could have got you on the show as well. That like
Yeah.
they really opened the gates type.
Yeah,
thing, and
that
it's really
movie,
cool.
honestly, I really think that while there's a lot of like Asian, shows and films, it really, really, really put that issue on the map. Like that there was an all Asian cast that didn't that wasn't a stereotype, like it was just a normal story that any nationality could play.
It was a celebration of culture rather than turning it into a whole parody.
Yeah, no, it was great.
I'm gonna be honest, and everyone's gonna hate me, but I haven't seen Crazy
I
Rich
haven't,
Asians.
I haven't seen it too.
Bro, you were
You haven't
there.
seen it? Of course,
Don,
the
you were
Filipinos haven't
there.
seen it.
Oh no,
I've seen it.
Chris,
I watched
Chris
it on the
Aquino's
day.
in it.
Is he?
Yeah, she's in it. Like Chris Aquino. Like
Oh, okay.
from,
Wait, which
yeah.
one? Which
Yeah.
one was she? Was she the super rich girl?
Yeah.
Aren't they all?
No.
She's
I
like-
mean, like
Crazy
the
rich.
one from the family, the one that the sister.
No,
Is
so
that
Chris
her?
Aquino played like a cameo role when my mate was getting married. She played like Princess Intern, which you guys wouldn't know because you haven't watched it. But
It's because Manny Pacquiao wasn't in the movie. If he was, we'll be at Rudy Hill RSL watching the movie.
yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to watch it.
Yeah,
Hey
I know
Don,
it's been
out
you
for
were
ages.
there.
You, like, were
You were
in
probably
Singapore.
there
I
when
was
they
living
were
in
filming.
Singapore and I hadn't watched it.
That's why I was like, what the hell? Anyway, yeah, no, sorry.
Meh.
Hey, this is your homework, Don. You after this, you put it on right now. You watch it.
It's funny how they're just picking on you.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen it at all.
No, but I
Because
think
he
it- I
was
think it's an
there.
amazing
He was
thing.
there.
Yeah, I was right there. I was
I
at
know,
Marina Bay
you were
Sands.
like pretty much.
He's
there.
probably in the movie somewhere, walking around in Singapore. Like
You're
he's in
right.
the background.
You're
right.
probably in the background.
You're in the movie. You're
He's probably in the
credits,
movie.
I was there
He's in the
eating
credits.
chicken rice at some hawker center, and they were like, you know.
They
Back
had
to
get
your
his abs on the show.
your modeling.
Yes.
I wanted to know, like, did you do all the catwalks and stuff and beauty pageants and everything?
Funnily enough, yes. The first ever runway that I did was for like a David Jones fashion show,
Oh yeah.
which is so weird because I was honestly like it really bedazzles me why they chose me. I'm 5'1" and the standard height, is 5'7". But what they did do is they put my hair in like this massive cone, which was probably like 4 or 5
bit more
inches
height.
anyway. So yeah, I think that's kind of how they moved around it. But yeah,
You were 5'2".
well, no, I think I was like 5'7" by the time they were done with my hair.
Nice.
Yeah, so I did that, and then I moved from that to like pageants, and I've funnily enough done quite a few runway shows. One of the designers that I work closely with is Leonardo Salinas. He's Filipino. He like showcased at New York Fashion Week, Australian Fashion Week. Yeah, and so like I actually have a lot to be thankful for him because he put me in his shows and he didn't care. He didn't care about the height. Yeah.
That's
It
really
was
cool.
dope. Like, in terms of the pageants, is it cutthroat?
Totally.
Like, does everyone hate each other? If they don't talk to each other, there's no sisterhood or anything?
Is that
Look-
is that Mean Girls style? Like,
How close to
it's-
miscongeniality is
It's
it?
like passive aggressive,
yeah,
like
that's it.
Damn.
I don't know, because I'm really competitive, so I kind of really kept to myself.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of it that people are like, oh, I've made a friend for life, sisters of the sash for life, but I'm like, really? Like, are you really going to talk to these people like ever again? I know I personally really haven't. I mean, I've just continued to do me. I've always
Yeah.
been pretty driven, so I've just been focusing on me. I haven't really spoken to anyone I've done pageants with.
So the pageant's not the way to network. 'Cause everyone's just on your ass.
I think that it's pretty political. I think it's pretty. I think you can make some friends out of it, but like my experience is pretty catty as well. And I've coached, when I did life coaching, I was a bit entrepreneurial. So like I had a fashion label and that failed, and then I did like a media thing and that failed. Had a media company, and then I did life coaching and that took off. I coached a few girls in pageants, and their experience was kind of similar. So, you know, one of the girls that I coached went on to do Miss Universe Australia, and she said it was pretty catty.
Yeah.
Wow.
People pretend to want to be your friends, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like Narcos, but in a beauty pageant scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Narcos,
Exactly
beauty
like that.
pageant.
Trade. This guy.
Yeah. And that's not to say that you can't make, you know, lifelong friends. It's just in my experience, I didn't really.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's hard.
Fair enough.
You were talking about being entrepreneurial and like solving problems and stuff. How does it come about? And I guess the question I'm trying to ask is, are you constantly trying to think
Yeah.
of problems to solve, or like are you trying to think of solutions for problems, or is it just like, you know, whenever you're on holiday, like, oh, I could maybe make this, or what's the process of an entrepreneur
Me
for you?
personally, I just have always been entrepreneurial. You know, I think I was maybe 20 something when I started a fashion label, and the reason why I started it was because at the time I was acting heavily, I was modeling heavily, I was presenting, I was constantly going to events, and I constantly needed to have designers dress me. And it got to a point where I was like, and the designers were dressing you for free, for exposure. It got to a point where I was like, man, I'm running out of designers to like ask for favors from. And so I was like, you know what? I'll solve this problem myself. I'll just create my own fashion label and I'll promote my own label. It failed terribly. It was fine. Like, we broke even and that was it. I learnt very quickly that, you know, being a fashion designer or having a fashion label is something that you need to be wholly invested in. You need to come up with like new designs, you need to like go with like seasons, be seasons ahead, and that really wasn't me. I was just trying to solve like a problem that I had. And so we broke even and sold a few dresses, and it was good. We like even showcased at the IMAX, but then I was like on to the next one. So
Thank you, next.
yes, that's the song that I'm vibing with at the moment. And then from there, I met some people at like a networking event, and then I started like a media company. It was called Unbox Creative.
And when did you start that?
In my 20s as well sometime. And, you know, we did pretty well, but the guy that I did it with, he was a gun, and he was like a UX UI designer, a coder. Like, he was really great at what he did. And it was another valuable lesson that I learned, because when that business dissolved, I learned that he had all the skills to create that business again on his own, but I didn't. So it was like, well, you need to
upskill.
Yeah, you need to upskill. Like, all I brought to that business was, and like BD is an important part of scaling, but when that business dissolved,
What's BD?
Business development. So like meeting clients and getting new business and like getting the brand out there. And so when that dissolved, I was kind of like, well, I can't take that business with me anywhere, because I don't know how to code, and while I could hire someone, like it's not feasible when you're starting out.
Yeah.
So then I did life coaching, and that was all on me. So like
Based on your experience and your
based
skill.
on my experience, my skill. I had a few life coaches myself, and that did really well for a long time.
That's awesome.
Like,
I like that.
I just noticed, well, from the start of the episode, I just noticed you have this certain mind to just have things done and build things. Like, you're 14, you started modeling when you were 14, you started a business when you were 20, and then when you were saying that, I was thinking, what was I doing when I was 14? And what was I doing when I was 20? Your problems
Trading
when you were
Pokemon
20
cards.
yeah, when your problems when you were 20 are completely different to my problems when I was 20. It's like it comes to a different perspective of the type of brain that you have, and like other people that you notice start young have. But you know, it's amazing to see how you've came from here, from starting modeling at 14, starting a business at 20, and then continuing on to make other ventures. So throughout that process, how do you reckon that you've matured? Because I reckon your maturation will be completely different to mine.
Yeah.
I'm starting to mature now.
Yeah.
And it took 30 years, right?
I'm like early 20s right now.
Yeah, like I think the natural process for me, so like back then I was like modeling, and then I went from that to coaching modeling. So I think, you know, it's always evolving. So I think it was just always evolving. I think from a modeling perspective, as I've matured, I've just stopped really caring about what other people think about me.
Important.
And that's a really important lesson to learn. Especially when you're in showbiz, you care so much about what people think about you.
Because the end product is you viewing.
You are the product.
Yeah.
And so that's a lesson that I've really learned. And it's hard to kind of come to terms with, you know, just loving yourself for who you are and what you know what you're about. I know that obviously when you're in showbiz, there's so much pressure to look a certain way, to be a certain way, or, you know, whatever. You've always got to be like presentable. Like my mum was kind of like a showbiz mum, so I could never leave the house when I was in my prime time without full face of makeup, hair looking good, like
you have a run sheet of your day.
Yeah, it was like, it was pretty much, it was
crazy.
like that. And I love my mum, and she's been so supportive of absolutely everything that I do, but yeah, you feel the pressure. And then I got to like my mid-20s, I was doing this show with my co-host Trent. All the friends that I had, they were all models. And then when I didn't sign on for a second season of the show, my friends, funnily enough, also disappeared with that second season that I didn't sign on to.
Wow.
And that was an important lesson for me, because then I was like, you know what, all this time I thought, you know, these guys are my friends, but really they kind of weren't. And it was kind of like a showbiz friend. So like they would come with me to, like, you know, private parties with Steve Aoki. They would come to me private parties with Jamie Foxx and Leonardo DiCaprio. They would come to me with private dinners with, you know, Avicii and Calvin Harris.
Sorry, I just need to pick up something. All these names that you dropped.
Well, what good is meeting these people, right, if you don't get to drop them?
Keep going.
But yeah, they were showbiz friends. They
showbiz
weren't really
friends.
your friends.
And then that was a really difficult lesson I had to learn, because I'm so trusting of people, and I didn't know that there was a difference between real friends and showbiz friends. I just thought they were my friends, right? And like that, it was such a hard time, and that was also a really important time for me, because that's where I grew so much as a person. I started realizing, you know what, I got to take care of me. I got to stop caring about what other people think. I got to just be happy with who I am as a person, and I really grew, and I realized, you know, you got to find some solid people, and it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Because at the time, I think there was like maybe 8 of us, all models, all really good looking girls. When we walk into a club, we know it. Like,
Who are these people?
Hey Don, you got a girlfriend?
and funnily enough,
I'm only
like
joking,
none of
mate, I'm
those
only
girls are still friends with each other. So, you know,
Wow.
and that was a really important lesson, and I really matured during that time. Like after that show, just kind of started working on me, and I started hustling and surrounded myself with people that were way more with me in the business realm, you know. There are people, there were entrepreneurs that were really successful, and they say, it's really cliched, but you are the sum average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So if you're surrounded by like 5 really, you know, gun-ho entrepreneurs, like, or millionaires or whatever, more than likely you're going to lift your game.
Yeah.
And it goes the other way. If you surround yourself with people that aren't really doing anything and they just want to party and, like, you know, get drunk or whatever every weekend, more than likely that's what you're going to be doing as well.
Yeah.
So you learned all these lessons when you were 14? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like that your progression, like you, as you said, you were evolving. I like that you've learned something from each of your ventures and each of your experiences, to get you to this particular point in your life.
Yeah.
I guess after all of these ventures, I mean, what do you see Aprille Love tackling in the next installment?
As the interviewer in job interviews like to say, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Without without giving too much away about your,
Yeah.
if you have any secret ventures there.
Yeah, no. So I'm constantly thinking about ideas and what's the next idea. And I love that I work for a PR firm for tech startups because I'm surrounded by people, amazing entrepreneurs that are doing amazing things all the time. And I just love that. I love that, there's one guy over here like fixing, like safety in the workplace, and you think, well, that's kind of boring, but this guy's like, killing it. He's like a startup unicorn. And then, there's other people that are like coming up with solving problems in like the education space. So for me, the next 5 years, I really want to scale Sequatics. Like I want to maybe take the business into like resorts or cruise ships or,
that'll be
like
great. Yeah,
like tourism, really heavy water activity, sport tourism places. Like
Bring it back
Cairns
full
or-
circle to Boracay.
Yeah, bring it to. I don't think.
and then you're
Filipinos
cruising on the
pay.
ship, and you see the boat that you were on. Like, remember me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Next.
Exactly. Yes. I should give that guy. Like, I should give him one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I think in the next 5 years, it's all about growing as a person. I'm really big on listening to podcasts and.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
We are entrepreneurs ourselves, and we have a podcast. So, and you're a PR. So.
Yeah. I'll PR you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Like, I'm really big on self-development. I think like this year and in the following years for me is all about focusing on, growing myself, growing my mindset, growing my business. Doing really well at the job that I'm doing. Like I really enjoy it. And it's funny because, when I was life coaching, there's this thing called the law of least effort, and that is that things fall in place with the least effort when they're just meant to be. And, like this job, it just happened. Like I didn't think I was gonna, get out of a career in law and all of a sudden do PR. I don't have a comms degree. I don't have a PR degree. I don't have an advertising degree. Yet it just fell into my lap, and so far I happen to be really good at it and I really enjoy it.
Nice.
So it's about growth. Growth is the big buzzword for me for the next 5 years.
Nice. So that was a lot to take in.
That's
And
really
thank
good.
you for your wise words, because your story has been really inspirational in terms of you having that type of mindset where you're just on since you were 14 and you just kept growing. Like
She's been on.
I've only been starting to be on when last year, so it's crazy to see
We all
someone.
gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, we all got to start somewhere, so it's never too late. But thank you again for your words and your experiences, and
Thanks for sharing.
can you just tell us where they could find Sequatics?
Yes.
One more time?
So you can go to www.seaquatix.com. That's our website. And you can also go to General Pants or the store by Fairfax or Hard to Find. But come to the website.
Website.
Direct.
All right, check it out. Also, where can they find you, most importantly?
On Instagram mainly. So that's at Aprille Love, APRILLELOVE.